Ladies and gentlemen, have you ever noticed how some people seem to lose control of their lives simply because they give away too much? Too much of their time, too much of their energy, and sometimes too much of themselves. The truth is, not everything is meant to be shared. Some things, when given away carelessly, can weaken your confidence, damage your relationships, and even hold you back from success. So today, let's talk about 7 things you should never share with anyone. Not because you're being selfish, but because protecting these things means protecting yourself. Before we begin, if you have not subscribed to my channel yet, make sure to hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you never miss any video. Have you ever felt that spark of excitement when a new idea or dream pops into your mind, and the first thing you want to do is tell someone about it? Maybe it's a business you've been imagining, a book you want to write, or even a lifestyle change you're planning. In that moment, it feels so alive inside of you, almost too big to keep quiet. But here's the catch: when you share your long-term goals too soon, before they're ready, you risk letting outside opinions drain the very energy that gave birth to your dream. Think about it. Dreams are fragile in the beginning. They're like newborns, small and vulnerable, needing care, protection, and time to grow stronger. If you expose them too early, someone's doubt, criticism, or even casual comment can feel like a storm tearing through your fragile foundation. Imagine telling a friend that you want to start your own bakery. Instead of encouragement, they laugh and say, "Do you know how hard it is to run a business?" Suddenly, your excitement is replaced with second thoughts, and the dream that once felt possible now feels heavy with doubt. I know someone who experienced this firsthand. A colleague of mine wanted to launch a side business in graphic design. He was so enthusiastic, he told everyone in the office about it. Some people encouraged him, but others questioned if he had the skills, the time, or the resources. Within weeks, he lost confidence, stopped working on his portfolio, and shelved the idea completely. Months later, he admitted that if he had just kept quiet and worked in silence, he might have built something by then. His mistake wasn't the lack of talent. It was sharing his vision too soon, before it had the chance to grow roots. So, how do you protect your long-term goals without letting them suffocate in secrecy? First, practice patience. Allow your dream to take shape privately before inviting others into it. Like a painter who doesn't reveal a half-finished canvas, wait until you've made enough progress to show something solid. Second, choose your confidence wisely. Not everyone deserves to hear your goals. Share only with those who will genuinely support you, challenge you constructively, and help you stay accountable. And third, let your results speak for you. There's a unique power in surprising people with your accomplishments rather than promising them in advance. Ask yourself this: do you want to be remembered as the person who always talked about their dreams, or the one who quietly built them until no one could ignore the results? Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. Every time you resist the urge to announce your goal, you're giving it more strength to grow. So, protect your long-term goals until they're ready to shine. When the time comes, let your work speak louder than your words, and you'll discover that the sweetest victories are the ones you reveal after the battle has already been won. Have you ever noticed how quickly people's attitudes change the moment they know how much money you have or don't have? It's almost as if your financial situation becomes a label they use to measure your worth. But here's the truth: your money, your income, your savings, these are deeply personal. Sharing them too openly can invite unnecessary judgment, jealousy, or even exploitation. Think about it. If you reveal that you're struggling, some people may start to treat you with pity, as if you're less capable. On the other hand, if you admit that you're doing well, others might begin to see you as a resource instead of a person. Suddenly, every conversation feels like it's leading to a request or comparison. And let's be honest, do you really want your relationships to be defined by numbers in your bank account rather than who you are? I once knew a man who made the mistake of constantly sharing his financial ups and downs with friends. When he was doing well, everyone wanted to be around him, expecting dinners, gifts, or small loans. But when times got tough, the same people who once cheered him on disappeared. He eventually realized that, by making his financial life public, he had allowed others to control how they treated him. The experience taught him an important lesson. Money is not just currency, it's also privacy, and protecting it means protecting your peace. So how can you keep your financial life private while still living confidently? First, separate your self-worth from your net worth. Who you are is not defined by how much you earn. The moment you internalize this, you'll feel less pressure to prove yourself financially. Second, practice financial discretion. If someone asks about your salary or savings and you don't feel comfortable answering, you don't owe them an explanation. A polite, "I prefer to keep that private," is enough. Third, be intentional about generosity. Helping others is wonderful, but when it becomes an expectation because of what you've shared, it can drain you emotionally and financially. Choose wisely when and how you give, so your kindness is genuine, not pressured. Now ask yourself this: what happens when you stop broadcasting your financial situation? The answer is simple. You gain freedom. Freedom from judgment, freedom from comparison, and freedom from false friendships that only exist when your wallet is open. By keeping your finances private, you create space for people to see you for your character, your values, and your presence, not just your possessions. In the end, protecting your financial situation isn't about secrecy. It's about self-respect. The less people know about the numbers in your account, the more control you have over your life. And isn't that the kind of wealth we all want? The wealth of peace, dignity, and independence. Have you ever told someone about an exciting plan you had, only to feel your enthusiasm fade after their reaction? Maybe they doubted you, maybe they questioned every detail, or maybe they just gave you a look that made you second guess yourself. That's the danger of sharing your next move too early. It can rob your momentum before you even take the first step. Your next move is like a secret weapon. It's the strategy that sets you apart, the step forward that nobody sees coming. But when you announce it too soon, you invite voices, opinions, and sometimes even interference that can weaken your focus. Think of it like a chess game. You don't broadcast your next move to your opponent. You make it quietly, strategically, and with confidence. The element of surprise is powerful, and when it comes to your personal growth or ambitions, silence often works in your favor. I once knew a woman who dreamed of launching her own online store. She was so excited that she told nearly everyone she knew. At first, she got a few encouraging words, but soon, the doubts started rolling in. The market is too crowded. What if it fails? Don't you think it's too risky? She hadn't even launched yet, and already the weight of others' opinions slowed her down. Eventually, she put her dream on hold, not because she lacked ability, but because she had given away her energy to outside voices. Months later, she realized that if she had simply kept her plans private and worked quietly, she might already be running a successful business. So how can you protect your next move without isolating yourself? First, practice the art of silence. You don't need to announce every step. Let your actions speak when the results are ready. Second, surround yourself with trusted supporters. Share your plans only with those who will encourage and guide you, not those who will inject doubt. And third, channel your energy into execution, not explanation. Every minute you spend defending your plan to others is a minute you could spend actually working on it. Ask yourself, do you want to be known as the person who talks about what they're going to do, or the one who surprises everyone by actually doing it? There's a world of difference between talking about success and achieving it. The quieter you are about your plans, the louder your success will sound when it finally arrives. At the end of the day, your next move is your power. Protect it, nurture it, and let it unfold when the time is right. When you move in silence and let your results speak, you'll find that success not only feels sweeter, it also commands more respect. Because no one saw it coming, but everyone will see it once it's real. Have you ever shared something deeply personal about yourself, like a weakness you struggle with, only to regret it later when someone used it against you? It stings, doesn't it? Because the truth is, not everyone deserves access to your vulnerabilities. Your personal weaknesses are not flaws to be advertised. They are challenges to be understood, managed, and improved privately. We all have weaknesses. Maybe you procrastinate. Maybe you lose confidence in high-pressure situations. Maybe you find it hard to say no. These aren't things to be ashamed of. They make you human. But here's the problem. When you openly share your weaknesses with the wrong people, you hand them a tool that can be used to hurt you. Think of it like a game of cards. Would you show all your cards to your opponent before the game even begins? Of course not. In life, your weaknesses are those cards, and it's wise to keep them close until you've figured out how to play them. I remember a colleague who once admitted to a manager that he struggled with public speaking. He thought being honest would make him seem authentic. Instead, every time an opportunity for presenting came up, the manager overlooked him, assuming he wasn't capable. What could have been a chance for growth turned into missed opportunities. Not because he lacked potential, but because he revealed too much too soon. He later told me, "If I had just worked on it privately, I could have surprised them with my progress instead of being boxed in by my own words." So how do you handle your weaknesses wisely? First, acknowledge them to yourself. Self-awareness is powerful, but it doesn't require a public announcement. You don't need to tell everyone you're struggling. You just need to be honest with yourself. Second, work on your weaknesses in safe spaces. If you're nervous about speaking, practice in front of a mirror or with a trusted friend, not an audience that may judge you. Third, balance your weaknesses with your strengths. Instead of letting your flaws define you, focus on what you excel at and use those strengths to open doors while you quietly improve in other areas. Let me ask you, do you want people to remember you for the battles you lost, or for the victories you achieved despite your struggles? Sharing your weaknesses too freely doesn't make you stronger. It often makes you vulnerable in the wrong way. Growth doesn't need an audience, it needs commitment, patience, and courage behind the scenes. So protect your weaknesses like you would protect delicate seeds. Work on them quietly. Water them with effort, and when the time is right, let the world see the strength that grew from them. Because the most powerful transformation is not the one people hear about. It's the one they witness when you've already risen above what once held you back. Have you ever noticed how quickly people form opinions when they hear about your family problems? One small disagreement that was supposed to stay at home suddenly becomes gossip, and before you know it, outsiders are judging your family based on a single moment, not the full story. That's the danger of sharing your family conflicts too openly. It invites misunderstanding, criticism, and sometimes even shame into situations that should be resolved privately. The truth is, every family has its struggles. Arguments happen, tempers flare, and sometimes words are said that we wish could be taken back. That's normal. But when you take those conflicts outside, you risk creating a permanent image of your loved ones in the minds of others, even after the conflict has been resolved at home. Think about it. If you vent to a friend about a fight with your sibling or a disagreement with your parents, the fight might end the next day, but your friend's impression of your family lingers. Do you really want your loved ones to be defined by their worst moments in someone else's eyes? I once knew a woman who often shared her family issues with colleagues at work. She thought she was just getting it off her chest. But over time, people started treating her family with judgment. Even after the conflicts ended, her coworkers would make comments like, "Oh, isn't your family always arguing?" She realized too late that she had unintentionally painted her family in a negative light. Even though they were a loving, supportive unit overall, the problem wasn't her family. It was the way she exposed their private struggles. So how do you handle family conflicts without letting them spill over into the outside world? First, learn the art of keeping certain matters in-house. Disagreements should be resolved with the people involved, not broadcast to those who have no role in fixing them. Second, choose healthy outlets for your emotions. If you need to release frustration, write in a journal, go for a walk, or confide in a trusted, neutral person who won't judge your family. Third, focus on solutions, not storytelling. Instead of replaying the problem over and over with outsiders, put your energy into finding a way forward with the people you love. Ask yourself this: do you want outsiders to remember your family for the conflicts they hear about, or for the strength, love, and unity you've built over time? Protecting your family's dignity is also protecting your own, because your family is a reflection of you. At the end of the day, family conflicts are temporary storms. They pass, and in many cases, they even make the bond stronger. But if you let the world peek into those storms, the damage can last far longer than the conflict itself. Keep your family matters where they belong, at home, and you'll find that respect, peace, and unity become much easier to maintain. Have you ever noticed how quickly a good deed can lose its power the moment it's broadcasted to the world? You do something kind, but instead of it remaining a pure act of generosity, it suddenly feels like a performance once it's turned into a story to be shared. The truth is, kindness is at its strongest when it's quiet, when it doesn't need applause or validation. Your acts of kindness should be something you hold close to your heart, not something you put on display for recognition. Kindness, at its core, is about impact, not attention. When you help someone, the real reward is the difference you make in their life, not the likes, compliments, or credit that might come afterward. But here's the problem. The moment we overshare our good deeds, they risk being misinterpreted. People may question your motives, thinking, did they do that out of genuine care, or just for praise? And suddenly, what could have been a pure and powerful moment becomes diluted by doubt. I once knew a man who volunteered at a local shelter every weekend. At first, he kept it private, simply enjoying the fulfillment of making a difference. But after a while, he started posting about it online, photos, updates, even small details of the people he helped. What happened? Slowly, people began treating his kindness as a brand, something for attention rather than compassion. He confessed to me one day, "I wish I had kept it private. It felt so much more meaningful when it was just between me and the people I was helping." His story was a reminder that sometimes the loudest impact comes from the quietest actions. So how can you ensure your kindness stays genuine? First, practice silent giving. Do something kind without telling anyone. Help a neighbor, pay for a stranger's meal, or leave an anonymous note of encouragement. You'll be surprised at how fulfilling it feels when only you know about it. Second, focus on the person, not the story. When you help someone, be fully present in that moment instead of thinking about how you'll share it later. Third, let gratitude be your validation. The look on someone's face when they feel supported is worth more than any recognition. Now let me ask you, do you want your kindness to be remembered as an act of genuine care or as a performance for attention? The answer lies in how much of it you choose to keep private. At the end of the day, real kindness doesn't need an audience. It needs intention. When you choose to keep your good deeds quiet, you give them a kind of purity and strength that no applause can match. And the most beautiful part, those silent acts ripple further than you'll ever know, touching lives in ways that words could never fully capture. Have you ever shared something deeply personal, like a fear or insecurity, only to feel exposed afterward, almost as if you had handed someone the keys to your most fragile self? That's the risk of sharing your deepest fears too freely. While it's natural to have insecurities, not everyone deserves access to that part of you. When you give your fears away too easily, you open the door for others to judge, misunderstand, or even use them against you. The truth is, fears and insecurities are part of being human. Maybe you're afraid of failing, of not being good enough, or of being rejected. These feelings live quietly in the back of our minds, and when we share them with the wrong people, they can grow louder instead of weaker. Imagine confiding in someone that you're terrified of speaking up in meetings, only to have them tease you about it the next time you hesitate. Suddenly, your fear isn't just in your head, it's out in the world, magnified by someone else's reaction. I knew a young man who once admitted to a group of peers that he lacked confidence in his leadership abilities. He hoped for encouragement, maybe even advice. Instead, that insecurity stuck with him like a label. Whenever leadership opportunities arose, people reminded him of his own words. "Didn't you say you're not good at leading?" What started as a moment of honesty became a barrier that held him back. He later realized that if he had chosen carefully who to share with, or better yet, worked quietly on building his confidence, he might have been seen for his potential, not his weakness. So how do you handle your fears and insecurities wisely? First, acknowledge them privately. Self-awareness is powerful, but it doesn't mean broadcasting every doubt you have. Write them down, reflect on them, and face them in your own space. Second, share selectively. If you feel the need to talk about your fears, choose someone who has proven to be trustworthy, supportive, and capable of guiding you in a positive direction. Not everyone earns the right to know your deepest struggles. And third, channel your energy into growth. Instead of repeating your fears aloud, put effort into small steps that weaken them, like practicing a skill you're insecure about or challenging yourself in safe, gradual ways. Let me ask you, do you want your fears to define the way people see you? Or do you want your growth to redefine the way you see yourself? The choice lies in how you protect those fragile parts of your identity. At the end of the day, your fears and insecurities don't need a spotlight. They need patience, effort, and courage behind the scenes. When you keep them close and work on them quietly, you transform them into strengths that no one can take away from you. And when the world finally sees you, it won't be through the lens of your doubts. It will be through the power of the person you've become. At the heart of it all, these 7 things are about protecting your power, your peace, and your progress. Life teaches us that privacy isn't about being secretive. It's about being wise. The less you allow unnecessary voices to interfere, the more focused and unstoppable you become. So, the next time you feel the urge to share everything, pause. Ask yourself, is this something that strengthens me when I protect it? If the answer is yes, keep it safe. Because the strongest version of you isn't the one who gives everything away. It's the one who knows what to hold close. God bless you.